What's up, guys? This is Carter Thomas with Coin Mastery TV. Make sure you go to coinmastery.com/invest to get the free email newsletter series all about dollar cost averaging and introductory strategies into crypto. I know we've got a lot of new people coming into crypto this week. Welcome. That newsletter will help you out a lot. So just go download it, check it out. You'll get a free course and everything else. If you're new here, welcome. We're talking about how we are going to just absolutely crush everything and dominate what I consider the biggest financial revolution and opportunity of our lifetimes, specifically through making better decisions. And what better time to do that than right now? What we're going to talk about today are two basic buckets. The first is what's happening right now. The second is a little bit of perspective to give everyone a little bit of breathing room. Because I think, honestly, from what I can tell from talking to a lot of people and just from my own experience, for a majority of people, the best thing you can do in the next couple days probably is nothing. And hopefully this will help just bring it down a little bit, because I think that there's so much of an urge to do something that the volume that you see, right? I mean, just looking at the charts, the volume, but just the sheer amount of hype and volume that we're seeing on the media and everything that's coming through, it's easy for the brain to confuse that as opportunity. And remember, the opportunity comes from fear, it comes from dips. So that's what I really want to talk about today. Kicking it off, if you watched the live stream yesterday, if you saw the video, we did a few retracements, right? And the big question, honestly, is which trend is this going to end up following? So the big trend would be the one from July, which is the one we were looking at yesterday, where this is very loosely speaking, right? This is not official technical analysis. But if you look at this, you can start to see where some of these levels come in. On this mega trend, we have not done a 50% retracement, so to speak. So that would be one target, right? That's right around 6,600, give or take. Or is it going to end up being this trend where we had this low at 3,000 and then we see the levels? Or is this more of a shorter term trend where we look at what happened recently and we start to see the lines fill in? And any technical analysis, any technical trader would be looking at all three of these and measuring the risk accordingly. So as the price moves up and down, as you watch the volume, how well or how quickly does it break through some of these lines, assuming you're using retracements? If you look at the daily candles, you can start to see some more interesting shapes. So a lot of traders look at this sort of thing where, you see this long-legged doji, which often reflects a huge amount of activity that ends up neutralizing itself, which is really what happened. It can often be a reversal signal, but you don't see a very strong reversal signal yet. But if this daily candle ends up becoming a very bearish candle, or it turns into more of an inverted hammer or something, we could see some really wild things happen. But for all intents and purposes, I think a lot of you guys are looking more for, when do I buy in? What do I do? And this is what I'm doing, at least. And talking to people as much as I can, seeing what the market sentiment is, and always balancing everything I see on these charts with what's going on in the greater system. And I'll just jump ahead. So Fred Ehrsam, how do you pronounce it? He was one of the founders of Coinbase. He left earlier, but really, really smart guy. He's written some really incredible posts. But he pointed out Coinbase is in the top 10. Now, you guys may know I've been in the app business, app marketing business for 5 years now, built thousands and thousands of iPhone apps. Being in the top 10 right now is a big deal overall. I mean, that's like hundreds of thousands of downloads a day worldwide. Now, per country, it's a little different, but still, there is a serious amount of volume going into Coinbase, both through the app and from the web signups. So you got to keep that in mind. So when you're looking at these charts, while all the decisions get baked into the chart, I mean, the chart is the ultimate display of what's going on, realize that there is a huge amount of demand coming in, and it's coming in very, very small increments, but in very large numbers. So what does that mean for you? What does that mean? What am I doing about it? Well, in terms of buying in, first thing, always just have the dollar cost averaging running. This is the foundation of all long-term investing because it allows you to diversify no matter what the market does. You don't have to time it. You don't get emotional about it. If you want to learn about that, go to coinmaster.com/invest and download the PDF. It'll explain exactly how to do this. It's very easy to do. And then the second thing I'm going to be watching is these lines. And I'm going to see where it breaks through, and I'm going to continue to see which trend this is going off of. I personally think that for Bitcoin to really go big, it's got to have some pullback. I mean, we're getting a little bit here, and luckily the volume is big enough to really kind of fill out the chart. But as you guys know, I would much rather miss a trade than buy a trade and watch it keep going down. So I tend to be more conservative on buying the dips. And I want to be able to open up Twitter and see people completely freaking out, thinking like it's apocalypse now. That's really the level at which I want it to be. And then 24 hours later, you start layering your bids. This is what I'm doing. Looking over at the altcoins, I think with altcoins, this is where you're going to see people start to get themselves into a bit of trouble, because there is a lot of opportunity if you know how to do technical trading and day trading, and you have enough money and liquidity, or you trade on margin to be able to play these markets. But I think that a rule that I've found, that I don't know if it applies to everybody, this is something that I have learned over the last 5 months or however long we've been doing these videos, is that the second I find myself trying to find opportunities, if I try to find reasons to spend money in crypto, I'm going to lose money. There's a very high correlation to that. And I see a lot of people trying to find reasons to spend money right now because they just want that win. And it's a very difficult strategy. So as you were watching this, what I would do, or what I am doing, I should say, is I'm really starting to hone in on a few coins. And, I bought a bunch of Stellar Lumens a couple weeks ago. You guys saw that. So I'm just learning more about them, right? I don't own a lot of Bitcoin Cash, but I'm starting to study it more. I'm focusing on 4 or 5. I'm really diving into the research on these. Dash is another one where I can start to see the bigger picture, so that when the price does get to the point where I'm really excited about it, I have the confidence and the conviction to go big on it and to make a power move and to hold it, so that I'm not finding myself in a position of defense or anything like that. So that's what I would recommend. I think that there's obviously stuff that's going to pop all the time. But when I look at my goals, my 5-year goals, that is not going to get me there. What will get me there is finding the winners. And the only way you can find the winners is by focusing on a few and doing a deep dive. Contact the dev teams, meet up with people who are in the know, learn about the technology, understand their go-to-market strategy, and study the price action. That's the best thing you can do, right? Investing money, putting money into the market should be the last of 10 steps in this sort of market, right? So Bitcoin's coming back nicely. This is great to see. And we'll keep an eye on this as it rolls out. But again, I'm hanging tight, letting the dollar cost averaging do its thing. And then I'm really just waiting for some big crazy thing to drop the price. A couple other highlights. Looks like NASDAQ is going to follow suit with the CME, and they're going to offer some futures trading. It's not going to be till next summer, but this is going to be not only more volume in the futures market, it's going to be really big in the publicity. I've said it before, I'll say it again. 2018 is going to be so big for crypto. That doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to go up 10x. It just means that there's going to be so much more money that comes in, that there'll be a lot of new opportunities, a lot of new ways to get involved, just a lot of things that happen all at once. The way the supply works on some of these coins, things like Bitcoin, the price may go up a lot. I'm betting it will. But these are the kind of things where the amount of media exposure gets, the amount of people that know about crypto is really just as important as everything else that we've been doing. Excuse me. A few other things, wrap it up. Like I said last week, I'm going to start trying to do 20-minute videos instead of 30-minute just to hammer it in. I think that'll be more helpful. Take a look at this tweet. This is from Russ Lambert. Is that right? Lamberti. And I'll link to this, where if you look at the late 90s, the chart, and if you're listening on the podcast, this is a chart of Apple stock between 1996 and 2001. And you can see how it had almost, I guess, a 4 or 5x spike over that time frame, and then a huge sell-off, right? March year 2000, and then it just kind of dropped. And everyone's like, oh man, look at that bubble. It was the end of the world. But when you zoom out and you look at what happened over the next 15 years, 18 years, I should say, 17 years, it went up $175, not including all the splits and everything else. And so if you get caught up in the micro view of what's happening, and this is exactly what's happening in cryptocurrency right now, is that we get so immersed in the day-to-day, into the speed and the dopamine of this, we forget that this is really the potential. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger because crypto is so huge. Like blockchain and finance and money is just massive. So if you ever find yourself getting hung up on like, oh man, should I buy in at 98 or 97? Where's the dip? Realize that the name of the game is just diversify over time and play the long game, because we are in the entire industry is in a rocket ship. The whole thing is going to do this, and it's all about just slowly rolling your money in and not getting caught up in the swings early on. So I thought that was really helpful just to give a piece of perspective. Similarly, this is a screenshot from Bloomberg yesterday, I believe, where it showed the money invested compared to all other asset classes, right, into crypto, digital currencies. And it shows how big other industries are. Now, there's a lot more to this, right? Residential real estate, 162 trillion, securitized debt, 94 trillion, equities, 55 trillion. I mean, it's not necessarily apples to apples. I get it. There's a lot of derivatives and, institutional instruments, and there's different ways to value certain things. But the point being is that crypto is 0.3 trillion. That's the market cap, right? 330 billion or 25 billion or whatever we're at right now, compared to 162 trillion in real estate, or 94 into debt, right? So 6 trillion into gold. So you start to look at this in the grand scheme of things, and it gets really interesting. I mean, even if we just went 5x, we would still be a speck, right? So again, the reason why this stuff is important is so that when you were waking up and you were looking at, oh man, what price do I get in at? God, I don't know. The money is in the long game. That is why a couple of weeks ago, I talk a lot about the way you can make the most money in crypto. The two ways. One is you learn to, scalp trade and do everything within it. The other thing is just go make more money get a promotion, get a raise, go work on the weekends, be a consultant, do something else, and then just buy more crypto. But this is tiny, and it's going to be one of the biggest things that ever happened. And I think it's just really important. And what I'll end on is this awesome, I shouldn't say awesome, just kind of hopeful tweet from a guy, Eduardo Gomez. And he said, Bitcoin has changed my life entirely. Below, you will see why today 1 Bitcoin is worth 1 billion bolivars, which is in Venezuela, Venezuela's local currency. I joined the space to prevent my government from deciding my future, my economic sovereignty. Thank you all. Thank you, Satoshi. Yes, we are all in crypto because it is an incredible way to make money. Yes, we all believe in, many of us believe in the tech and blockchain. Yes, we believe in a better system and all that. But I know for myself, living in the United States, having such incredible opportunities and, just for endless reasons, it's easy to forget how big of a deal this is for citizens of other countries who have governments or institutions that are not necessarily looking out for their best interests and are taking a lot of their rights. And Bitcoin, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's some other currency, whether it's anything, it's beginning to change that power, to break that cycle. And obviously we have so long to go, but stuff like this, it makes you realize that, yeah, we all want to make money, but this is about something so much bigger than making money. And that's why you just can't let this get you hung up. You can't let this lose sleep over, even though we've all done it, myself included. Because realize this is going to be so ridiculously big, and it's going to change the world in so many ways that will decentralize, that will dethrone power that should not be in power in the first place. It will give power back to people in many different ways, in ways that I personally believe in, and I think a lot of other people believe in. But it's just a very exciting time. So I'll leave it at that. For everybody who's waiting to check the price, remember, buying should be the last case scenario. It should feel like you're getting a deal anytime you're trying to buy something. And if you're not doing anything, you're having dollar cost averaging running in the background. That is the best move you can do. And then keeping in mind how much more there is to go, right? We are just at the beginning. So very exciting times. Glad to be part of it. Very exciting to have the community we have. And in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.